Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. I am Wasbir Hussain. The Northeast has 10 central universities spread over 8 states, and many of these central universities are in the news of late for the wrong reasons. The Manipur University reopened on Thursday after a 85-day shutdown because the teachers, students and the staff wants the incumbent vice-chancellor removed on charges of irregularities. There is a student agitation going on at the Rajiv Gandhi University in Arunachal Pradesh because the university has been operating without a VC since December last year. Several questions arise. First, take the case of the Manipur University. If the Union HRD Ministry could agree to an inquiry against VC AP Pandey now, why was the probe delayed for so long? Why was the impasse allowed to continue for close to 3 months? Why was no urgency shown by the center or the state government in its bid to resolve the crisis? Now, why are students having to agitate for the appointment of a VC at the Rajiv Gandhi University in Arunachal? The HRD ministry says the screening process is underway, but why so long? The long and short of the story is that higher education in the Northeast has become a matter of serious concern, and with the center busy with issues that must have an immediate impact on the ground, the impression that is being generated is that no one has the time to think about the future of the younger lot from this remote region. To discuss the subject, I am joined by one of the Northeast's most veteran educationists, Dr. Mridul Hazarika, the Vice-Chancellor of Guwahati University. Well-known author and analyst, Dr. Udayan Mishra, joins me from Guwahati. In Shillong, I have Professor Prasenjit Biswas from the Northeastern Hill University. In Imphal, I have Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh, former Commissioner Education, Government of Manipur, and Professor Debananda Ningthojam, spokesman of the Manipur University Teachers Association. From Itanagar, I am joined by veteran Congress leader Ms. Jarzum Ete, and at our studios in Guwahati, I also have Professor Akhil Ranjan Datta. Viewers, let me also tell you that a BJP national spokesperson was supposed to have joined us, but we have extended an invitation to the BJP spokesperson, but the BJP has not nominated so far anybody to be on this program. That's for the record. First of all, I would like to go straight to Professor Debananda Ningthojam in Imphal, spokesman of the Manipur University Teachers Association, professor at Manipur University. Professor Ningthojam, 85 days your university was shut down. You were demanding an inquiry against the VC. Finally, an inquiry has been granted. Don't you think that this inquiry could have been instituted by the HRD ministry at least 2 months ago?
Yes, I hear you loud and clearly. Yes, you are very much right. Center's response to the current impasse in Manipur University has been too little, too late. This inquiry, as you rightly said, this inquiry could have been done more than 2 months back. I will give you a brief background. This present impasse in Manipur University for the removal of the present incumbent in the VC's chair, Professor AP Pandey, this began on May 30, 2018.
Yes.
And initially, the movement was launched by the Manipur University Students' Union.
Yes. No, Professor Ningthojam,
in the beginning, Manipur University Teachers Association.
Professor Ningthojam, we know the background because Northeast
Yes.
Life had covered your entire impasse in great details. Now, my question is, had this inquiry been conducted 2 months ago with the terms set by you, I think we would not have lost additional 60 days. Now, we have lost nearly 90 days. It could have been done 2 months ago, isn't it? That's the good point.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
No.
Yes, exactly. Let me come to a brief background. Yeah, let me come to a brief background. After 23 days of the agitation, there was an impromptu visit by a joint secretary of MHRD Mr. G.C. Hosur. He gave a very brief visit. He came in the afternoon and he left the next day. And there was no follow-up action. After 43 days of the agitation, there was a 2-member fact-finding committee. The Manipur University community objected to the fact-finding committee because this looked like a departmental committee, in-house committee, and there will be no independent inquiry. And we demanded that let there be an independent inquiry committee. And after 47 days of the agitation, one retired acting Chief Justice of High Court of Meghalaya, who is from Manipur, Justice T. Nandakumar, was added, but the original 2 members, that is 1 member from UGC and another from MHRD, was still there. And finally, after about 75 days of the agitation, finally, they made a 2-member committee, that is Justice T. Nandakumar and Professor M.K. Chowdhury, retired Vice Chancellor of Tezpur University, who is from Assam.
Yes.
But, as you rightly said, this
could have been done. This could have been done long back.
Inquiry committee.
Maybe on that.
Why didn't they? Yes. Why didn't they institute this inquiry committee when the agitation? When the agitation did not complete 1 month.
Yeah. Exactly.
They could have instituted an independent inquiry committee.
I have got the sense.
In 1 month itself.
I have got the sense of what you are trying to say. We could have had the inquiry within 1 month of the agitation. On the 27th day when the Joint Secretary visited, that day itself, the resolution could have been done. Inquiry committee could have been set up. You could have called off the agitation and the probe would have been over perhaps by now. Now, let me go to Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh, former Commissioner Education. Now, in a state like Manipur, Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh, where there is only 1 university and about 90 colleges are affiliated to this single university, it's not a question whether it is a central university or a state university, it is the only university. Do you think the state government has also failed to a great extent in resolving this crisis much ahead, actually? Okay, let me take this question to, Dr. Mridul Hazarika in the studio, Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University. The question goes to you. Now, there is only 1 university in Manipur. It's a central university. It happens to be a central university. There are 90 colleges affiliated to this university, about 10 to 12,000 students. They have not got their results of 5th semester, 6th semester. So there was a total deadlock. My question is, can the state government escape responsibility by saying that, oh, we have nothing to do because this is a central university? So do you think the state government, irrespective of who is in power, that is not important. Question, do you think the state government should have intervened with all its might to resolve this crisis maybe within the first 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes, I do agree with you that if we delay in the process of resolving certain crises, it always leads to serious problem. And that problem becomes so serious at some stage that we have to lose many things for any institution or individuals. More importantly, I'm not aware exactly of what was the role of state government, but at the same time, I feel state government has a role to play in a situation like this.
State government cannot shirk responsibility. Particularly in a state where there is just 1 university, isn't it? That's the moot point, Dr. Mridul Hazarika.
Yes.
That's the moot point. Let me go to Dr. Udayan Mishra. I'll come to you, Prosenjit Biswas. Dr. Udayan Mishra, what is the broad picture? What is the general message that you would like to, you have gathered from this whole thing, the goings on, how the center has treated this whole issue? The impasse continued for 85 days. It's not a matter of joke, Dr. Udayan Mishra. We are discussing the broad picture of higher education in the Northeast.
No, I think it involves the mindset of the center, not only regarding education, but the general mindset towards this entire region. So it's a reflection of that. It's simply preposterous that a state has to have a band to get a vice chancellor removed. And now, after so much of dilly-dallying, they are now giving you an inquiry committee on the basis of which the movement has been withdrawn. So that itself shows that the demand of the students and the faculty regarding certain alleged irregularities of the Vice-Chancellor has some substance. Otherwise, why should they have given an inquiry at this late stage? So I think it is a general reflection of a mindset where what happens in the periphery doesn't really concern you. You know, you can move on. Had this happened in Delhi or in Chandigarh, I think it would have been a totally different type of a response.
I'll come to that.
So here for 85 days, you let things stay. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. That's a very, very, very clear-cut point which Dr. Udayan Mishra has made. Had it been in Delhi...
can I add another small point?
Yes.
Can I add another very small point here which may be opened up for discussion? I think this also is related to the whole process of selection of Vice-Chancellors, which is not at all a transparent process, whether it's in central universities or in state universities. So that, I think, also needs to be looked into, how we go about, you know, choosing people to head the institution.
Absolutely.
I'm not reflecting on the quality or merit of anyone, but I'm talking of a process.
Talking of the process, the screening process, and
the screening process,
and so on.
And that, I think, is also to be looked into in such situations.
Right. Mr. Kunjo Bihari Singh, you had been the Commissioner of Education in Manipur. My question is, it's not only about Manipur University. My question is slightly general. What does this whole Manipur University episode reflect? What does it mean to you? How are you looking at it, the broad picture?
Yeah, the Manipur University issue has been unnecessarily not taken care of in time. Yeah, this should have been taken care of much earlier. And then secondly, even after it has been prolonged, it has been prolonged so long. Then also some of the relevant issues have been perhaps sidelined or ignored.
Okay.
Perhaps sidelined or ignored. Right. I'll illustrate. Yeah.
I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Even after the inquiry committee.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Kunjo Bihari Singh. It has been prolonged. Now, Dr. Prosenjit Biswas, had it been JNU or had it been Delhi University, do you think there was not a mention of the Manipur University crisis in the national media, for example? Nobody was bothered. Now the question is, had it been JNU, had it been Delhi University, do you think the HRD ministry could have been just sitting tight and doing nothing about it?
HRD ministry has been showing a kind of a pathological kind of indifference to the causes of universities' strife and trouble. Generally, that is true. Now, in case of northeastern universities, what we get to see that whenever students and teachers voice their concern, they were very, very lackadaisical and laid back to respond to the crisis. And going by the track record of MHRD, the way they pick up politically their favorite man or woman for the vice-chancellorship, and the way they trample the autonomy of the central universities in the whole region, that's a matter of grave, grave concern. It's a crisis in democracy, because in a democratic country, universities play a major role in streamlining public opinion, in building up the younger generation, in creating the human capital. All this has been turned into a major failure under the lackadaisical attitude of the MHRD, and that is a major concern for the region. This is not only an abysmal neglect of this region, but it is also a kind of a complete indifference towards this region, a total failure on the part of the MHRD to really address any issue that concerns the higher education of this region.
Could have definitely done better. Not even the junior minister thought it necessary to visit Manipur. Not even the junior minister thought it necessary to visit Guwahati and call people from Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh to discuss the two issues jointly. Nothing of that sort happened. I'll come to you, Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta, but very quickly, Congress leader Jarjo Methi in Itanagar, Ms. Jarjumeti, MHRD does not seem to be bothered. That is what our panelists are also suggesting about higher education in Northeast. We have seen the crisis in Manipur for 85 days, Manipur University. Ms. Jarjumeti.
That's very true. It's not just Manipur or Arunachal. We have seen it in Nagaland. We have, in fact, in Arunachal, we have seen it in the deemed university of the Northeast Regional Institute of Science and Technology.
Yes.
We have seen it in the National Institute of Technology that has come up some years back in Itanagar. Some way, perhaps the MHRD seems to be not prioritizing the higher education in the region. That is a common experience.
That is the common experience
throughout the Northeast region.
Not prioritizing. Dr. Akhil Datta, what are your opening remarks? You have heard most of the panelists. I'll come to Dr. Mridul Hazarika for an overview. But what are your opening thoughts?
I think this is the kind of attitude being adopted by the Union government in general and MHRD in particular. It's going to destroy the very foundation of higher education in this region. For example, if a Vice Chancellor is not there in office, it has different consequences. And if there is a Vice Chancellor, as is the case with the Manipur University, who is permanently, almost permanently on leave, he is not in the campus, he is not holding the executive council meetings, he is not holding the academic council meetings, so on and so forth. In other words, he is paralyzing a whole institutional infrastructure of the university. By doing that, he is not doing injustice only to the university on the campus. He is doing injustice to the whole generation of the student community in the state. Meaning, 90 affiliated colleges of the university.
More than 10,000 students.
More than 9,000 students. He is not only allowing these students to be part of the university in Manipur, he is also not allowing these students, bright students, to go abroad or go outside. For
so
example,
it's having a whole big, huge impact, on the future of the student community.
Exactly. Now, I think center by that is playing with the future of the student community in Manipur.
I will come for a response from Dr. Udayan Mishra and Dr. Mridul Hazarika in the studio. But Professor Ningthojam, now, don't you think the university also could have adopted a different mode of protest? As a professor, as one of the leaders of the Manipur University Teachers Association, don't you think there could have been an alternative style of agitation? Now, how are you going to make up for these 85 days? Are the teachers going to take extra classes? Are the teachers going to keep the university open at night? Is the library going to be open at night? Have you asked the state government to come up with proper electric supply, proper water supply, proper food in the canteen for the students to continue studies till late in the night? What are your arrangements now? Is it enough to only say that blame the HRD ministry and do nothing on your part? Professor Ningthojam.
Yes, you are asking me a very tricky question.
It's a plain question. It's a question about the future of the students of Manipur.
Yes. Yes, I will be extremely honest. We initially did not join the agitation, and in the June 4 meeting of the general body meeting of the Manipur University Teachers Association, we only took 2 resolutions. We asked the present incumbent in the BC chair, Professor Pandey, to publicly clarify about the allegations raised by the students' union against him about administrative and financial irregularities. And we also appealed to him to kindly restore normalcy as early as possible. And we were given no response at all. There was a stoic silence. And he refused to enter the campus and negotiate a settlement with the agitating students. So, in order to save the soul of the Manipur University, we had to, in between, we had to join the movement. And let me tell you, since yesterday, after an memorandum of agreement was signed after 3 days of hectic parleys with the visiting Joint Secretary, Mr. G.C. Hosur, and Musu, Muta, and Musa, that is the 3 components of the university community, non-teaching staff, students, and teachers, in presence of Honorable CM of Government of Manipur, his Council of Ministers, Chief Secretary, Commissioner, Higher and Technical Education. We had come to some agreement. Only 2 major points I want to highlight. One is the fact-finding committee will be reconstituted.
Professor Ningthozam, that is fine. We cannot get stuck with the same thing. Professor Debananda Ningthozam, my question is very simple. Now you have agreed to the inquiry. Inquiry will start. Inquiry will come up with its findings, and then you will respond. But now there is no point in talking about the inquiry. Now my question to you is totally different. What measures has the university community now taken to make up for the loss of these 90 days for the sake of the students? We don't have any personal agenda in this. I'm asking you this question Hussain, on behalf of the students.
Hussain, I will come to that point.
Please come very briefly. I have to go for a break. Yes.
No, I will come to that point. But since yesterday, we had tried to bring normalcy, and university was open after about 85 days yesterday, and a new VC, Professor W. Vishwanath Singh, has taken charge of the Vice Chancellor, and VC has been given leave for 30 days to ensure a free and fair inquiry, and a new registrar has been appointed because the earlier registrar was hand in glove with the...
Okay, I'm not concerned. Professor Ningthozam, I will have to cut it short there.
Let me highlight this point.
That is not the point. Dr. Mridul Hazarika,
let me highlight this point.
I will have to lower your volume. You have to give me specific answers.
There was an order from MHRD
You have to give me specific answers. That you have to give me specific answers. I'll come to you after the break. Dr. Mridul Hazarika, if you have got a sense of what I am talking about, now don't you think you are also heading a top university in the northeastern region? My question is, now, we all know the reasons. There is no point in discussing. Do you think now it is the responsibility of the Manipur University teachers, students' union, as well as the staff association to take urgent measures, come up with a proper roadmap to how to make up these 90 days? That is critical for the future of the students. Well, inquiry is one part. Inquiry will go on. That's a different story.
Well, compensating 85 days is not an easy thing. And unless we take clear measures for compensating 85 days, we will not be able to do anything.
So proper roadmap is necessary.
Yes, proper roadmap is necessary, and we should not forget that our primary role in any university are the students. We are there because they are students.
Yes.
And students' future we cannot play with.
Absolutely. I'll go for a break. When I come back, I'll go to Professor Udayan Mishra and Professor Prasenjit Biswas on this same very question. What is the responsibility of the Manipur University teachers, students, and the staff? How to make up for this 85 days? Yes, we know that the inquiry is going on. That is a separate story. We'll go for a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Dr. Udayan Mishra. This is a very sorry state of affairs. There are 10 central universities. We have been discussing, we all know what is going on in Manipur University. I will come back to the 2 panelists in Imphal. But Dr. Udayan Mishra, what does it reflect? We have got 10 central universities. The situation, more or less, we all know about what is happening in the Rajiv Gandhi University in Itanagar. There has been without a VC since December last year. So what are the students from here going to do? Because the students who are studying here are the ones who cannot actually afford to go out of the region for higher education.
Now, first of all, I would like to talk about the Manipur University situation.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
First of all, I would like to talk about the Manipur University situation, where Professor Hazarika also said that it's not so easy to make up 85 days. But I still feel, that even if you give all the infrastructural facilities, lights are on, library is on, canteen is on, still, the basic trust between the head of the institution and the students has been broken. You have a vice-chancellor against whom an inquiry has been instituted, he is on leave. So that takes us to the structure of the university. I feel, as someone who has been part of the university system for more than 3 decades, I feel that over the years, the different committees in the university, beginning with the departmental committees right up to the research, academic council and so on, these committees have surrendered a lot of their rights, and the vice-chancellor as a post has become too important. Actually, he is the father figure, he is the head of the institution, he is the person who has the integrity, the moral power, etc., to give the shape to the university. Now, when you are talking of returning, to normalcy, how does an educational institution return to normalcy? It's not just a government office that suddenly the offices open, the files start moving. It involves much more issues, bigger issues. That's why I think we need also to talk about the structure of the university. Right. Now, the Vice-Chancellor is on leave.
Absolutely.
But the university can function effectively if the structure is there.
I will go to Imphal, but before that, very quickly, we have got a serving and a sitting VC with us. We are very fortunate to have you, Dr. Mridul Hazarika. But how do you respond to what Dr. Udan Mishra has raised? A very critical point. The institution, the position of the Vice-Chancellor has become extremely top heavy, in the sense that all the other committees that the university used to have, like the Senate and others, university courts and other things, they have generally relinquished most of their powers. That's the point being raised by Dr. Udan Mishra. What is the actual situation? At least you can talk about your university.
Well, as far as our university is concerned, we are in a very healthy state of affairs. Therefore, it is not correct to compare with our university, because our university has grown on a very strong foundation over the years.
But at the end of the day, Dr. Mridul Hazarika, but at the end of the day, what would you personally prefer? Do you think all the other committees and all should be equally strong, so that there is a healthy leadership which ends at the office of the VC at the end of the day? So it's a combined effort.
Well, as far as the committees are concerned, proactive committee can change the situation. That is my experience within my university.
Right.
I find that when the members of the committee are proactive, they are quite proactive, and they change the course of action in number of times as far as the Guwahati University is concerned.
Now, Prasenjit, what has been your experience? Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, what would you like to say? I'll go to my panelist in Imphal now.
As I was pointing out, that democratic institutional functioning of the university is very, very important. Most of the vice-chancellors function in a bureaucratic manner, and that is at the root of decline of the university system in the whole of Northeast. They do a pick and choose kind of a rule. Now, university statutes provide the largest possible representation from the community. But in most of the northeastern universities, various segments of university are not appropriately represented. It becomes one-man rule. The man at the top tries to rule the university. And this is how they break the very morale and the spine of the university. And that is how university systems in the Northeast are not able to catch up with the global standards. They are continually declining, the research is declining, the funding is declining, relationship with students is declining, and we are not able to locate the deeper malaise that is part of this institutional functioning, which is functioning in an undemocratic manner.
So yes, Professor Debananda, you want to say something? Yes, Professor Ningthodam. Yes, please.
Of the university
it's an open
system.
debate. Please feel free. All the panelists. Yes, Professor Ningthodam.
You asked the question. You asked the question why normalcy has not returned to the Manipur University. Since yesterday the university was open.
I didn't really say that, but yes.
The new officiating Vice Chancellor, Professor W. Vishwanath Singh, yes, he has already started functioning from yesterday, and he appointed a new registrar, Professor Dorendrajit of the Physics Department of Manipur University, only yesterday. And we published some results of some 5 streams of 6 semester results were published. from yesterday to today, 5 streams of the 6 semesters have been published. And university is in we are working on a war footing. But today, very strangely, we are shocked to learn that MHRD has issued a letter to the officiating Vice Chancellor W. Vishwanath to undo the order of appointing that new registrar, Professor Dorendrajit. This was the letter received today. So, how can normalcy be returned? When normalcy returns, there is an immediate interference from the central government that you undo the order of appointing Professor Dorendrajit.
This the breaking news
is destabilizing
this is the situation.
There is a breaking news. Just hold on.
MHRD
Professor
is deliberately destabilizing MHRD by issuing fatwas from above. They should not be issuing any fatwas on Manipur University.
Right. This is absolutely correct. This is actually Professor Debananda. You have given a breaking story. The first order, the first major order of the officiating Vice Chancellor has been rejected by the Union HRD Ministry. The registrar was appointed. Union HRD Ministry has written a letter saying that this registrar's appointment be nullified. So this is the breaking story.
Has decided.
This is the breaking story.
For intervention by MHRD. We should strongly condemn MHRD for this kind of fatwas and intervention.
On the one hand, they claim that a free and fair inquiry will be initiated. And the moment the process is initiated, they are asking the new officiating Vice Chancellor to undo his order. How can normalcy be returned in such a condition?
How dare they give it?
This is
you should again agitate.
This is
and you should protest
this is the dilemma in
such
which
an arbitrary fatwa, such dictatorship that Manipur University is facing from MHRD.
Dr. The very first order, the very first major order of the Manipur University has been rejected.
I think as Prasenjit has said,
this is disorder. Let's call it disorder. It's not an order at all.
An order from the MHRD, because the government, central government should have known that after such a long, long strike, long, the kind of turmoil, that university has finally coming back to a normalcy. And in such a situation, the government should have acted in a very, very sensitive manner. Rather than doing it, it is again agitating the teaching community and student community along with the overall environment around and creating a situation where
Dr. Udan Mishra, you are saying something. Dr. Udan Mishra, yes.
Yes, I just wanted to put in this thing, exactly what I said about the lack of trust. The total lack of trust, the atmosphere of lack of trust that has been reflected in what you have just said about the registrar appointment being nullified. So how can you talk of a return to normalcy where you have very sensitive students, young people with very agitated minds and the faculty and everything? That's where the problem is actually. The problem lies on a much deeper scale.
Absolutely,
giving you the infrastructural. That's what I said.
This also
in the total break, the credibility of the institution is at stake.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's the problem.
Now, Professor,
when you break the credibility, what is left? Nothing is left.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh. It's a shocking development, isn't it? The MHRD ministry is not allowing the university to actually function, not allowing the university to normalize. Exactly. Mr. Singh, Kunja Bihari Singh.
Yes. So what is the question?
No, the question
MHRD,
is...
Yeah, MHRD is reportedly standing in the way by asking the BC, the new BC to stall the appointment order of the registrar. This is very unfair. That the earlier registrar was hands in glove with the BC, allegedly. BC, allegedly. And therefore, for any neutral inquiry, a new registrar should be in position.
Right. Absolutely, because registrar is a very key position. Now, Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh, what would you want? Now, my question is, would you like Mr. Biren Singh, the Chief Minister, to intervene right now, asking the HRD Ministry to keep quiet for some time? Do you think Mr. Biren Singh has a task in hand at this point?
I think, yeah.
Exactly.
The government of Manipur should step in now.
elected representatives of the state at all.
With the government of India, the ministry, that such a thing should not be allowed to continue. Let there be an independent inquiry, and for that, the institution should start functioning.
Actually, so the panelists in Manipur are saying that Chief Minister, Mr. Kunjo Bihari is saying that Chief Minister Biren Singh must intervene and not create a fresh situation from developing in the Manipur University. So this is something I think the HRD ministry should take back its order of actually nullifying the appointment of the new registrar. Dr. Mridul Hazarika, what do you think? What is your considered opinion?
My opinion is quite clear on this.
Chief Minister normally should not intervene or be associated with the cancellation or otherwise of the registrar. He can as the head of the state, play a role, kind of a role with the union, with the Ministry of Human Resources.
Exactly, that is what I am saying.
At a higher level.
I'm saying exactly what you are saying actually, Mr. Kunjo Bihari is saying. This is what I am saying. He has to tell the MHRD to keep quiet for some time. Yes, Dr. Mridul Hazarika, you are making a point.
Well, you see, now it's the time to develop trust between university
No, I said
and
Mr. Biren should not intervene.
Hold on to your thoughts.
As far as the appointment.
Well, you see,
yes, carry on.
Now the time is that there should be a trust between the university
Mr.
and
Biren
MHRD.
Singh, as the Chief Minister of the
state, to develop this trust, someone will have to play a role.
Should not get associated with a cancellation or otherwise. He can have a higher plan.
Has to play the role
use
of
his official authority.
I think this also shows that the autonomy
to talk to the union ministry
are not being respected. For example, it has been a very healthy thing that at least the teaching community, student community and non-teaching community have accepted the new Vice Chancellor as a facilitator of bringing peace to the university. So he should have been allowed to take action in consultation with the student community, teaching community and the greater society. Now when he is taking some step to bring normalcy to the situation, if such a notice comes from the MHRD, it hampers and it shows total apathy on the part of the MHRD.
Dr. Datta, I mean, you see, the university, as Professor Ningthozam has said, that they have already declared the results of the 5th semester.
Exactly,
which
they are doing on war footing.
They are on a war footing.
Yeah.
They could not have been more faster.
That's a credible thing, and I congratulate the Manipur University Teachers Association for doing such a credible thing.
Absolutely. Let me go to Miss Jarjum Eti in Itanagar. Miss Jarjum, Rajiv Gandhi University. Again, I just want to bring in your point of view. Students are forced to agitate. What is their demand? Or appoint a vice and give us a regular VC. I mean, do you think it is the job of the students to agitate to get a vice chancellor, permanent vice chancellor? If you cannot appoint a vice chancellor, why have the university?
Wasbir, when we talk about a system, everything is supposed to happen in a very kind of, organized way. When a vice chancellor or a director of an institute is on verge of retirement or his tenure is getting over, the MHRD should actually have its roles prepared. They should, keep posting, sending people, the right kind of people, without the institutions asking for a vice chancellor or a director. 1. 2, even political leadership, may it be in the states. The institutions are not stand-alone institutions. They are organic part of the states, of the region, of the country. And I, for one, expect that the visitor's office, the rector's office, they should also be in touch with each other to make sure that there is a smooth transition of administrative leadership in the institutions.
Just can I add one thing?
Yes.
Therefore,
as far as Rajiv Gandhi University is concerned, which was Arunachal University in the beginning.
Government of India is not prioritizing higher education
was appointed as the first Vice Chancellor of Arunachal University, and Gegong Apang was the Chief Minister. Let me tell you the story. When the first convocation was held, as per the University Act, the Chief Minister is not supposed to sit on the dais. Now, when the Vice Chancellor approached the Chief Minister, and Chief Minister came to the university, but he didn't ask that he'll sit on the dais. I think the kind of sensitivity, kind of respect shown to the university is very important towards building the infrastructure of the university.
Let me go back to Jarjum. Jarjum, you are making a very important point there. But again, I want to ask you, the state government also have a big role to play. I was asking this question to my panelist in Manipur. State government has a big role to play, isn't it, so far as the institutions of higher learning in the Northeast are concerned? Jarjum.
I personally, again, believe that, since people's government, the elected representatives in the states, not just Arunachal or Manipur or Nagaland, but throughout the states of the country, education is priority, starting from pre-primary, nursery schools to the universities. So it should be, very well-organized, well-oiled system. We can't really say that, state, because it's a central university, the state has no role to play, or because it's a state university, the center hasn't any role to play.
Right.
I think that's passing on
that
the
is the point. Now,
at the cost of the children's future.
Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, what is going on? This is a direct attack on the autonomy of the educational institutions. This is impacting on higher education in a very big way in the northeastern region. If there is no autonomy in the university, somebody is remote controlling it, then it becomes extremely difficult.
Yeah. Yes. Continuing with Akhil, I would say that autonomy is granted in the act of the university, which is passed by the parliament. Now, this MHRD does not respect the act of the parliament.
Yes, yes.
They want to run university by their own cronies. If the VCs don't succeed, they can go up to the level of superintending officers, who should be their crony. So this is how they want to control the entire university system and the entire bottom-up process of the needs of the students, the demands of the teachers, the demands of the non-teaching employees are not respected by MHRD.
Yes,
and that is how this ministry is creating this crisis.
Right.
The crisis is driven from the top. And we have to resist it from the northeast. We have no other way but to tell the ministry that the larger, broader section of the society now should intervene.
Yes, Dr. Udayan Mishra, you were saying something. Dr. Udayan Mishra. You wanted to say something, Dr. Udayan Mishra? Yes. Yes. Dr. Mishra. I think Dr. Mishra is not...
Yeah, I mean, do I say or Prof?
I can't hear.
Okay, so...
I can't hear it.
Yeah, please.
Of course.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, I think Dr. Udayan Mishra, can you hear me? You are saying something. No, we'll come back to Dr. Udayan Mishra. But Dr. Mridul Hazarika, the autonomy, the role of the university. I mean, every university has to have its own location-specific agenda. It's a big institution. It's almost like a small empire in itself. They have to be given a lot of autonomy to run the university, isn't it? If somebody is remote controlling constantly, you are a state university, but if the state government constantly, on your back, it will be terribly difficult for you to run the university.
Well, autonomy is definitely important for any university, for new thoughts to really come out of the university, because success of a university depends on the fact that over the years, how new thinking have evolved. Thinkings have evolved and new ideas have created and accumulated in the university system. And that's the way a university grows. And if we look into the best of the universities in the world, universities have developed to this level over a period of time.
Correct.
And that is why it is important to have an independent thoughts, and as far as the universities are concerned, the autonomy is definitely important.
And a few lines, if you look at from Radhakrishnan Commission to Yashpal Committee report, you know, it has talked about the autonomy.
Yeah.
Now the government talks autonomy in terms of finance, meaning that you generate the finance, we have nothing to talk about it. But in the academic affairs, they want to interfere.
Absolutely.
I think this is the most dangerous thing.
They cannot interfere in the academic
affairs of
thereby,
the
thereby impact on the free thinking within the university.
And that's very interestingly, you know, either the legislative assembly of the states, respective states, or the parliament makes it very clear in the act of the universities.
Let me put on record here that
Can I say something?
Yes, Dr. Udan Mishra, yes, please. Go ahead.
Yes. No, I just, sorry, I just wanted to add something to what Akhilesh said. See, the concept of autonomy which you are referring to, it's not just something, you know, something in the air. Yes, it's true that, you know, when you talk of the MHRD, the MHRD is working on the directions of someone. The MHRD is not just working on its own. So if it allows 85 days of agitation just to keep a vice-chancellor in his position, there's something else behind the scenes. So why don't we accept it? Now the autonomy question comes up, and being belonging to the Northeast, I'm at least proud to say that Guwahati University or Dibrugarh University or any of the central universities, they have defended their autonomy to a very great extent.
Yes, that's what I was about to tell.
Many of the universities in our neighboring states.
Yes.
It's my own experience.
Absolutely.
But autonomy also emerges from the excellence of an institution. The institution also has to maintain a level of excellence.
That's a very good point. Autonomy emerges from the excellence
out of which autonomy
an
comes.
institution.
The government also is scared of interfering if the excellence of the institution is there.
I must add that as far as Guwahati University is concerned, in the last 5 years, I did not receive any type of interference from the state government, whether it's academic or otherwise.
No, that's a very good tradition.
The tradition is being maintained as far as our...
I think, no, this is something which has to be highlighted.
Exactly.
Dr. Mridul Hazarika, the incumbent Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University, is saying on satellite television that during his tenure, he has hardly found any interference from the state government, which is a very, very positive sign, which is a very positive...
I'll just add one line. I have been there in the university for the last 2 decades. And I have always been a critic of the government and also of the university system. But till date, as far as Guwahati University is concerned, I have not received any instruction.
Stout defense of the Guwahati University. I will quickly go to... I will have to go for a break. I'll have to go for a break. But before that, Professor Ningthozam, now you have done... the Manipur University has done a remarkable job. You have declared the results already. It's a setback that the registrar's appointment has been cancelled by the HRD ministry. So what is the status of the registrar now? New registrar.
We are in a dilemma. It all depends on how the new officiating vice chancellor acts further on this matter. And since yesterday, when we had opened the university, teachers of Manipur University have given a serious commitment that we will work on a war footing. We may even run 2 batches of master's courses, and we will be taking extra classes. But as I told you in the very beginning, on the second day itself, there is interference from the center. So when we were agitating, they said immediately restore normalcy in the university. When we are trying to restore normalcy, they are not allowing the new Vice Chancellor to function independently.
That is the dilemma. We'll keep a very...
esteemed Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University. Professor Hazarika will agree with me that university is a self-governing institution.
Definitely.
And VC, registrar and other key functionaries of the university should be given freedom to run the institution. Why this interference? So we are already on the path to normalcy, but there is now remote control interference from the center.
Absolutely. Remote control interference,
this interference
when
should be,
the university was just beginning to be normal. Professor Ningthojam and Mr. Kunjo Bihari, I'll come back to you, all my panel will come back to you after this very, very short break. Stay on. Welcome back. I'd like to go once again to Jarju Mete in Itanagar. Miss Jarju Mete, what are our MPs doing? By the way, we have 25 members of parliament. Just no intervention at all critical issues concerning the Northeast, particularly on the issue of higher education, for example. Jarju Mete.
Wasbir, it's not only Rajiv Gandhi University students. We have seen it in NERIST, we have seen it in NIT. When we have people's representatives in the state or in the center, it would be also very kind of them to actually intervene and facilitate. Instead of the children agitating, the leaders should come forward and say, okay, we'll take responsibility of all these things, so go back to the classes. And even in Manipur, what has happened? It's very unfortunate.
Okay, now, but why are you saying it would have been kind of them? Don't you think it is the responsibility and mandate of these elected representatives to speak on behalf of their state and their people and their region? Why should they be kind? It is their job.
Very true. It is, of course, their mandate. It's their duty to look after the needs of the young people, especially as the human resources of the region, of the country. And if it is, if they don't realize that it's their bounden duty, I, as a parent, would feel grateful, if they took the cue from the agitating students.
Now, Dr. Udayan Mishra, what are our MPs doing? Why have we elected them and sent them to Parliament, sit in Delhi, in plush accommodations?
Wasbir, education or higher education has never been a priority with our elected representatives. I've never found any of the MPs from the northeastern region making an issue out of it, either in the Rajya Sabha or in the Lok Sabha. So I don't expect much from them. But what I would like to add here is that I see a certain pattern when it comes to the central universities and the state universities. And I think in the case of the central universities, there is some agenda that is working very, very openly as far as remote control is concerned. And fortunately for the state universities, at least in the northeastern region, I think they are much better off when you talk of autonomy or when you talk of their decision-making power. They might be starved of money and funds. But I think from the point of view of academic autonomy, I think they are much better off. So that is one compensation which we, who always worked with state universities, I think which we have. And that's a positive thing which I think that comes out of all the negatives. That's what I feel.
Yeah, Dr. Prasenjit Biswas, role of MPs. Udayan Mishra says that he's not expecting them.
I understand.
No, I'm not.
The point is that in the MHRD standing committee, there is not a single MP from Northeast. What a farce! What a farce that higher education standing committee does not include any MP from the Northeast, as if our MPs are not qualified. This is a completely unicentric, unilateral constitution of MHRD standing committee, completely muffling the voice of our MPs from the Northeast. This is how MHRD is suppressing us, coercing us. Our MPs are not
even given
it's
a total failure of the political class. Is it a total failure of our political class?
We should condemn this MHRD completely.
That's your camera.
I do agree what Prasenjit has said, but I also add to the point that is also failure on the part of the MPs of Northeast India. Now, except for Mizoram, all states are being ruled either by BJP or BJP allied parties, NDA. Now, what these chief ministers are doing here, I think they should have also played a very proactive role in different committees, not only MHRD, in different committees, where now Northeast has become a destination for BJP, destination for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they are using all political forces here to spread their electoral victory. In such a situation, the political class, particularly the BJP and the allied forces, if they cannot claim that the people from the Northeast area...
Dr. Akhilanjan Datta, I have a slightly different view. I don't bother whether it is BJP, Congress, AGP, but my point is, if the political class as a whole, it is their responsibility to look after higher education of the children, students from Northeast, because it is only...
I think I agree. I agree with Wasbir there. I agree with Wasbir.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because we must also understand
but Wasbir, if our own representatives are not given any place, how will they voice?
Bargain for that.
It is not a question of...
We should make enough noise to force ourselves. We should fight for our rights. That is what is not happening.
So I'll give only one instance.
Professor Ningthojam.
Just Wasbir.
I'd like to go to Professor Ningthojam.
Only one sentence. If on the NRC issue, only one MP from Northeast India, Bishwajit Doimari, can make it an issue in the parliament.
Yes.
You know, all MPs, 25 MPs, they should have been in a position to make it an issue.
You are trying to say something, Professor
other MPs have spoken. For example, Silchar MP Sushmita Dev has spoken on NRC issue. Why only Bishwajit Doimari?
Sushmita Dev has also
spoken. Yes, of course. A lot of people have been speaking at some point, but we are talking about higher education. Professor Ningthojam, can you hear me? Okay, let me go to Kunja Bihari. Mr. Kunja Bihari, Professor Ningthojam, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are talking about the role of our elected representatives. Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh, what is the role of our MPs?
Yeah.
What is the role? Are you happy with the role of our MPs?
No, not at all. They should raise the issue. They should raise the voice. They should raise the voice collectively with the government of India. That such things should be sorted out at earliest. It should not be allowed to prolong 80+ days. And even when this has been opened, there should not be. It should not be only not confined to Manipur. It should be a question of all the parts of the northeastern region. For example, the Arunachal case, this should be raised irrespective of whether they belong to Arunachal or not. So all the MPs should have a forum where they raise the voice commonly against the interference of the government of India.
Dr. Middle has regard, but 25 MPs is not a very small number, isn't it? It's not a question of number. It's a question of representing 45 million
is
people.
Quite a large number.
Quite a large number of people, isn't it? Dr. Middle has regard.
It's
not a question of numbers alone.
Well, we have three.
I was disconnected for some time.
Please, what I would like to say here is that we must remember one thing very clearly, that any community or any nation survives on its ability and efficiency, and they cannot survive on the weakness of others. They have to survive on their strength, and therefore there must be some gaps somewhere. We need to really put our point across together collectively, show our strength, our ability,
and cutting across party lines.
Yes.
Cutting across party lines. So that is also important.
Because it is happening in Neris, it is happening in Rajiv Gandhi University, it happened in Tezpur University. in almost all central universities and central institutions, it is happening. It is not an exception now.
No,
it has become the general norm. Therefore, the collective responsibility of people's representatives are very, very important.
I'll go to Dr. Udayan Mishra with a slightly different question. Dr. Udayan Mishra, in the last, 4 to 5 years, we have seen Look East being transformed into Act East policy. Now, my question is, there's been so much of investments being talked about in different sectors, but no one is talking about investment in the higher education sector or education sector in the Northeast. Is it a cause for worry, Dr. Udayan Mishra?
I think that's a very relevant point. That's a very relevant point which you have made. Now, even if we take the Look East or Look Act policy, I don't think it has made any headway as such. But education as a sector has been totally neglected. It has not featured much even in the vision plan, the 2020 vision plan, about the Look East policy. So there I think you are perfectly right, and there is where the malaise lies, because the emphasis now is on private universities. Why do we forget that? You see, lot of the best faculty of many of the central universities are moving away to private universities, and the stress is primarily on private universities, which you see even from the point of view of the government. So that is where I think the whole problem lies.
That is a very interesting
the involvement of the state in education is withdrawing.
Right. And a very interesting point Dr. Udayan Mishra is making. Jarjumeti, the same question goes to you. Ms. Jarjumeti, we are always talking about investment in Northeast, for development. But the biggest investment actually should be on our youths, which is our future. But we hardly see any investment towards that end. Jarjumeti, no investment on our youths.
When we come to talk about human resources development or investing in this sector, especially kind of observing the way education, the foundational education is happening in the state, just investing in the higher education sector is not enough. In fact, it has been seen that the foundation education from nursery to primary to middle school and higher secondary school, children today actually can't read and write properly. That's a major failure of the education system. I am not talking about Assam or the other states, but in Arunachal, especially in the government schools, there is something absolutely wrong. Now, maybe it's in the teachers' recruitment policy, or perhaps in the delivery of education per se. The quality of education, the foundation for the children is not strong enough for them to be trained as
let me tell my viewers that I am just getting to know from my producers that there are a lot of people watching this show in Imphal, and they have a direct question to the Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University, Dr. Mridul Hazarika, who is in the program. The questions which the viewers wants to know from Imphal, all from the Manipur University community and outside, is that what are the powers of the acting Vice Chancellor? How can the acting Vice Chancellor now act? How can he act and normalize the situation? Dr. Mridul Hazarika, this is a question from many of our viewers in Imphal.
According to the Act.
Well, we have to go by the Act. I'd like to very clearly say that as far as our Act is concerned, Guwahati University Act is concerned, as an acting Vice Chancellor has no right and authority to replace.
Now, how can the acting Vice Chancellor now move actually to, make up for the loss? What can he do?
I can talk about Central University statutes.
No, just a minute. This is a question to Dr. Mridul Hazarika. What should the acting Vice Chancellor now do to take the university forward?
Well, it's the role of the acting Vice Chancellor now is to take everybody on board, and all stakeholders will have to be taken into consideration together.
Yes.
And we try to see, and he needs to listen to all of them, and their points of view should be duly honored. and I think they should take it forward. He should take it forward appropriately. Otherwise, because there are problems, there are a lot of emotions involved, lot of now last 85 days of agitation really created a lot of mistrust. And we have to develop trust among different groups, and that is most important part of the acting vice.
Now, that's a very, very clear-cut statement coming from the Vice Chancellor of Guwahati University. He said that the acting VC of Manipur University now should move ahead by gaining the confidence, by talking to everybody concerned.
I have a question for Professor Hazarika.
Yes.
Are the powers of the acting Vice-Chancellor defined in the Central Universities Act? Is there a provision for an acting Vice-Chancellor? No, I'm not very sure. I think Professor Prasenjit Biswas may be able to enlighten us.
I don't know about Central.
Yeah.
Because it's a very different act.
Just
Central Universities Act is very different.
Just a second. I would like to. Yeah.
Yes, totally different.
I would like to say that
so is there a provision for an acting Vice-Chancellor
has well-defined powers. He has every power to appoint any officer below him.
So
any officer below him.
Prasenjit,
so therefore, the acting Vice-Chancellor of Manipur University has done nothing wrong in appointing a registrar and in replacing the earlier registrar.
Dr. Prasenjit Biswas.
This is as per the statute.
No, Dr. Prasenjit.
MHRD is wrong in removing the registrar appointed by the acting Vice-Chancellor.
Now, Prasenjit Biswas is saying that the acting Vice-Chancellor is well within his rights, he has the powers to appoint a registrar according to the statute. That is what Dr. Prasenjit Biswas is saying. Yes, Professor Debananda Ningthojam, you said you have something to say. Yes. Professor Ningthojam.
Yes. Yes. I want to highlight this point that the new Vice-Chancellor of Manipur University, during the 30 days leave period given to Professor Pandey, he has gained full support of the students community of Manipur University, and also he has been given full support of the teaching community, and the central government, especially the MSRD, should give him full freedom to restore normalcy in the university. And also, one more point I want to highlight, when the new BJP government in Manipur was about to be installed, the honorable ministers of the central BJP government, they used to visit Manipur on a daily basis, almost on a daily basis, including the MHRD minister, Mr. Prakash Javadekar. But we are sorry to say that even after 85 days of agitation, the minister HRD has not even paid a brief visit to Manipur.
I had made that point.
On the other hand, when the Rohit Vemula case happened in Central University, Hyderabad, I remember, if I remember correctly, the then Minister HRD, Miss Smriti Irani, visited the Central University, Hyderabad, within the first 1 or 2 weeks of the agitation. But in our case, when this happens in the Northeast, the Honorable Minister HRD has not paid a visit even after 85 days of agitation.
Right.
So please,
that is a point to be.
And also, I would like to appeal. And I would like to appeal to the honorable MPs of Northeast to jointly raise this issue of the center neglecting the problems in the Northeast. Why is center always giving a stepmotherly treatment to the northeastern states? Is northeastern problem always a footnote in the India's political text?
Yes, we have to ask these questions. Very, very critical questions. Professor Ningthojam, hold your thoughts. Professor Ningthojam, please hold your thoughts. Yeah. I am running short of time. But the Guwahati University VC has made some very important point. The most important task for the acting Vice Chancellor now is to engage in talks with everybody concerned, draw up an action plan, make up for the loss of 85 days and move ahead. I think you are already taking steps in that direction. An inquiry is a different part. Inquiry will go on. You will respond to the inquiry later on when it is submitted. But my point is, Professor Udayan Mishra, what are your concluding remarks?
But the new BC must be given freedom to run the university.
I think
the new BC must be given freedom to run the university.
True.
That whatever can be done should be done for the students. But lastly, I would like to say that it is very strange for a Vice Chancellor to stick to his office when the entire community of the university has shown a lot of no confidence in him. I think the most important part for a Vice Chancellor is to keep the trust of his students and of his faculty members and of the university community. If he has lost it, he should just quit. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Dr. Prasenjit Biswas?
Inquiry or no inquiry?
I fully agree.
Inquiry or no inquiry? I think, if
I would say that the acting Vice Chancellor,
the community has lost its trust in you. I think there's no point sticking on to the guns. That's what I feel. As the last point.
The acting Vice Chancellor as a trust builder must be given a certain amount of freedom. His work should not be interfered with MHRD at all. But the problem is at the top is rotten. MHRD is unlimited intervention from MHRD has created this entire crisis. They should be held responsible. They should not be obstructing the path of restoration of academic peace in Manipur University.
They must be accountable.
The MHRD must be accountable.
They must be held accountable.
Dr. Akhil Ranjan Datta, but before that, Darjumete, the political class, you are not an academic, you are a political leader, so I am asking you political questions. Center doesn't seem to bother. The political class knows the Northeast has just 25 MPs, no big deal. Is that why MHRD and others are not bothered about the higher educational institutes in the region? Ms. Jarjumeti.
When we talk about the numbers of representatives from the Northeast, there is a kind of sadness that pervades amongst our people. They say we are very minor, just about 25, 26 people from the Northeast, whereas Uttar Pradesh has 80 and more. I don't think numbers should really matter when it comes to governance and delivery of development benefits to the people across the country. Whichever government comes to party comes to power or to run the government of the country, I'm sure even one single voice would make the difference. The right people in the right places should be approached. And I'm sure, very honestly, cutting across party lines, the people responsible in the MHRD or for that matter, which ministry in the government of India would respond positively.
Now,
I think
Jarjum,
we need to pursue our leaders.
What is your prescription for improving education in Northeast? What is the road ahead? Jarjumeti.
True. Very true. In fact, now over the years, there has been lots of schools being started in the villages, lots of higher schools being, primary schools being upgraded to secondary and higher secondary schools, and lots of colleges and polytechnics coming up. My personal approach is, too many institutions won't necessarily help our children, train properly or grow into wholesome citizens. Perhaps more intensive kind of, comprehensive education is important for them, and
more focus. That's what you are saying.
We need to review our education policies.
Last words. I'll come to my panelists in the studio to end, but before that, last words to Mr. Kunja Bihari Singh. What are your last words?
Yeah, these I totally agree with the panelists that the representatives of the region, now that we have reached a stage where the representatives should join hands and move the government of India, that such interference as is reflected here should be taken care of. They should stop meddling with the functioning of the institutions in the region.
Stop meddling.
Largely because we have been already on the shorter line. We have not been reaching the target. We are in a slow kind of a path. Therefore, any further delay in the opening of the institutions, maybe in Manipur University or in Arunachal, should be stopped.
Don't meddle.
And all the representatives, the 25 or 26 MPs, should join.
Dr. Akhilanjan Datta, what are your closing remarks?
I have two propositions. I have two suggestions, very precise suggestions. The first one is that the Vice Chancellor should be allowed, the acting Vice Chancellor should be allowed to exercise full freedom as per the University Act, ordinances and statutes, and he should be allowed to be the facilitator of peace and trust in the university. This is the first thing. Second point, the Vice Chancellor is not the authority. The Vice Chancellor is the highest official in the university. The Executive Council or the syndicate, whatever you call, the Academic Council and the court are the authorities of the university. Now the most important task before the acting Vice Chancellor, new acting Vice Chancellor, is to reinstate the normal functioning of these three important authorities of the university.
Absolutely. Dr. Mridul Hazarika, how would you like, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are very clear. As far as possible, we should keep the students away from this type of agitation. And we should take the responsibility on our own to settle the issues. And students, they are not supposed to know the nuances of the things as far as this type of problems are concerned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this has been a very engaging discussion on higher education in the Northeastern region. All is not well with higher education in the Northeastern region. I think our public representatives, elected representatives have a huge role to play. We are not bothered about which political parties they belong to, but as a political class, they have to raise their voice either in the states as well as in Delhi. And of course, the universities have to be given maximum amount of autonomy so that they can introduce freedom to chart the course of higher education and determine the future of students in this Northeastern region comprising of 45 million people. On that note, we end this edition of Northeast Tonight. I'd like to thank all my panelists for being present and contributing to this discussion. On this note, I end this edition. Good night and goodbye.